of an agreement with the City of Fountains Foundation for construction, improvements, and repair of the Henry Block Fountain.
Yes, Commissioners, we have with us today Jim Bernard and Casey Cassius. Casey is the president of the City of Fountains Foundation, and Jim is a member of that foundation and provides legal counsel for the foundation. This agreement, as presented to you today, will allow the Fountains Foundation, through the direction of the Park Board, to do some major repairs to the block fountain, which of course is located in front of Union Station in Park Boulevard right-of-way on Pershing Road. And then subsequently, the foundation would then work with a local contractor to actually make the repairs. The fountain is about 13 years old, but it's in need of some attention. And fortunately, the Block Foundation is providing all the funding necessary to make this happen. And I don't know if Jim or Casey has any comments.
Jim?
Thank you, Mark. Just a short comment. This is the same arrangement that we entered into with the city when we built the fountain in 2001, so it's just sort of an updated version of that arrangement.
Great.
And we're looking forward to continued association with the parks on it.
Okay.
And don't know if you have any questions for us or not.
Any questions?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have before us resolution number 30321. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Resolution passes. Next, a presentation on the Nelson Atkins Museum Heart Master Plan.
Yes, Commissioners. Catherine, I think you're taking the lead on this, is that correct? Okay. All righty, it's all yours.
Thank you. I'm Catherine Footer. I'm the Helen Jane and R. Hugh Pat Ullman Curator of Architecture, Design, and Decorative Arts at the Nelson Atkins Museum of Art. And I will be doing the presentation on some concepts that we have for a cultural district around the museum. This started with our strategic plan, which was enacted in the spring of 2013, where one of the goals or objectives of the plan was to use the museum as a catalyst to create greater connectivity between all the different assets around the museum, whether they be neighborhoods, parks, different institutions, businesses, so that we really could elevate the assets in the area. So as you probably all know, we do many programs with the institutions in the area, but this was looking more at infrastructure. And so these were concepts drawn up by the New York firm of Weiss Manfredi. They came out, they talked to about 50 people initially, and to draw up some of these to be a starting point for ideas. Since this has been unveiled, we have had now 2 public meetings where we have 4 work teams addressing issues of arts in the city, quality of life, economic attractors, and shoot, I forgot. It's the 4th one. Arts in the city, quality of life. And these teams are working on the same issues of thinking about connectivity all through different lenses. So I shall go through some of the initial concepts from Weiss Manfredi. So here's the area, an aerial view with the Nelson Atkins being at the bottom right of your screen, and we're looking south towards UMKC. Off to the upper right is the plaza, and off to the left towards Troost. Here is what they are envisioning as the way that we can have better east-west connectivity as well as north-south. And again, this is about possible changes to infrastructure, not so much about programming. Some of the projects that were used as sources for these ideas were a project that Weiss Manfredi did of the Olympic Sculpture Park, which is part of the Seattle Museum of Art, which is a 9-acre site, which was basically sort of abandoned and actually even toxic land site, where they were able to unite a part of the city which was not exactly blighted, but was definitely economically depressed, to the waterfront, and created a sculpture park, which has become a destination not only for visitors, but also has been an economic attractor for the area with new residences, created a beach, and so it's really become a very popular site in Seattle. Many of you know about the Millennium Park and taking the railroad yards there and really turning them into a cultural district, which has the theater by Frank Gehry, is also a place for many, many different cultural activities. The High Line in New York, which took abandoned infrastructure, the elevated train tracks in the Chelsea area of New York City, and has definitely transformed that neighborhood. And now there are galleries, hotels, there are always cranes going up, and it's become an active part of the city. And sort of our last one is what's called the Lid in Dallas, Texas, which just recently opened and actually crossed over or enclosed 6 lanes of traffic and united the Arts District with a business and actually residential area of Dallas, Texas, and again has become an economic attractor and enlivened a district of the city. Weiss Manfredi looks actually going back to sort of Kansas City, all the different assets that we have, all the neighborhoods which have very distinct personalities in Kansas City. This plan or these concepts are not to make them all homogeneous, but rather retain their distinctive characteristics. So, and many of you know these. Of course, all the different institutions that are in the area, from the National Museum of Toys and Miniatures to the Kemper, the Kansas City Art Institute, Rockhurst. There are just so many close partners right near us. And of course, the wonderful park system. And so thinking about ways that those can connect better to make linkages through bike paths and other things. So as I mentioned, the strategic plan, this is being the 6th objective, which was that the Nelson Atkins would be the catalyst. It has partners who have signed up for this public process, from UMKC and KCAI to the Missouri Rep and many other different organizations which are supporting the public process. Weiss Manfredi looked through different lenses, so how do we use art to connect to the community, whether it would be art in boulevards or festivals, things like that, as also events such as parades or yoga in the park, Tai Chi, things like that. You'll know that the museum partnered with Parks and Rec on the big picnic this past summer. It was incredibly popular and I think was a great benefit for all different institutions and communities. So I mentioned this, theater, we already have Shakespeare in the Park, and then also thinking about what kind of economic attractors there could be. So we now have 2 hotels in the area, so when these concepts were developed, that was not the case, and so what would make the area be a destination? Many of you may have been to Crystal Bridges down in Bentonville, Arkansas, and 21C bought a hotel there, and what was sort of a destination for a single day from Kansas City now has become a weekend destination and benefited to all the different assets in Bentonville. Bookstores, cafes also can create vitality and engage communities, as well as in the bike paths, jogging circuits, even just that simple image in the center, if that was distributed in hotels in the area, would encourage people to really connect all the different all the different assets in the area, and restoring some of the native ecology as well. So this gives you an idea of how Weiss Manfredi work. They consider the sort of the connectivity by even just using strips of paper, how things are going to connect. And they looked at 7 focus areas, and I'll sort of go through them. Again, I cannot stress this enough. These are just initial concepts. These are the starting points. There is no budget, there are no plans, there are no designs. This is just the starting point for these conversations. So we'll start with, this is looking at Main Street. That's the Nichols Fountain, J.C. Nichols Fountain in the center, with the plans for the streetcar to come down Main Street. That's an area which is not easy for pedestrians to cross going towards the museum. You can't see the museum from Main Street. It's a psychological barrier when you say that it's a quarter of a mile away. It's a big 5-minute walk. So how do we break down that barrier and encourage that east-west connection? So this was their concept for that. So this is looking south towards what was the Board of Trade building, and see the fountain. There's now more sort of amphitheater seating. There's an elevated pedestrians and bicyclists above, and then the traffic can flow underneath. Then if we move east towards the corner of Oak and Cleaver, again, an area you can't even find how to enter the museum, the Donald J. Hall Sculpture Park. So this would create greater access and visibility, as well as using art. And I should just point out that those red squares and rectangles, those signify the placement of art. So using art as beacons or breadcrumbs to draw people east-west and towards the museum. This is their rendering of that crossing, having a cafe, having permanent bathrooms that could be used, so that both the sculpture park and also Tice Park could have greater usage and through all different kinds of activities, and wouldn't just be for special events. Then moving south, so in through Tice Park, activating that space and making that much more accessible to our communities, so that it's activated not just for races or special events, but have real all year-round activities. Then crossing over Brush Creek, get to really link visually with the museum, give you greater access towards the plaza, towards that area, and make that connection down to UMKC and to the trolley run. I don't know if we're really going to have kayaking on Brush Creek, but we can all hope. So connecting to UMKC, this I think more about being branding, not so much about really changing any infrastructure. I would point out, however, that all of this is being part of the conversation with the new Whole Foods going in on 51st Street and Oak Street, and how that's going to affect traffic, which is already fairly high, thinking about all different kinds of connectivity that would encourage pedestrians and cyclists to use that, as opposed to all having more vehicular traffic. And then we move over to Troost. This is just an idea that the museum actually needs more storage space for both art and non-art. This would be for non-art. We also need more fabrication space for casework and things like that. But also really having a possible outlet into the community going eastwards that might have artists in residence program, whether they be national or be local, to really activate and be. This is a model, by the way, that was used by the Cleveland Museum of Art and has been incredibly successful. Then we move over to Southmoreland Park, to the west of the Nelson Atkins, a park that is really used primarily for Shakespeare in the Park, which is merely 3 or 4 weeks during the summer. But wouldn't that be nice to have the KCAI students be able to use that space more frequently and have more kinds of activities, whether it be theater or music, and really have that be activated much more. So one of the ideas is to take that 12 to 14 foot drop in the fieldstone wall on the northwest and grade that to make that gentler. Again, these are all just concepts. And then moving to the Nelson's Atkins property, again going back to some of the museum needs that we are examining. And actually, the museum is working on a master plan, and so this would be part of it, which is needing more art storage, needing more parking for our attendance is going up. I believe we will cross 500,000 visitors this year, which is a record for the museum, so that's very exciting. I think you're probably the first to learn about that. And but we're having many more activities, and so where do we put people? Our staff is growing, and so thinking about our future, the museum's future. So in this concept, Rock Hill Road, which you see as the orange, is actually moved over to the east, and the grade, and I think you can show the next image, Casey. The next image at the bottom shows you that that becomes infilled with art storage and also parking spaces. The road, the concept is the road would be sunk so that the neighborhood would look over the road, they would not see the traffic. And finally, we move to the north on 51st Street. And again, thinking about the needs of the museums, art is changing in addition to our collections growing. The nature of art, there's much more participatory, also performance art. Art is not just two-dimensional paintings hanging on the wall. So how do we accommodate this and really look to the museum's future? And finally, just back to the original slide of the connectivity and thinking about that. As I mentioned, there have been two community public process. We are going to have a public charrette the weekend of February 5th, 6th, and 7th to really open this up and get more input from the community about different ideas.
What are your initial feedback from the community?
I would say positive about the connectivity, and there's some hesitation as to what is actually could be accomplished. I think there's really sort of trying to build the bridges, and I mean that as figurative bridges, not literal ones, to the community, that we're actually listening and talking to them, and that the museum is being open to other ideas. So this is not, as I said, these are the starting points. But I would say overall, positive.
So what's the timing on the completion of the museum's master plan?
The museum's master plan, this being what we call the sort of cultural district
Okay.
plan.
Sure.
This, we think, will be next spring,
Okay.
probably June. We'll get that sort of completed. And the museum's master plan, we're hoping actually about the same timeline.
Okay, okay.
And that would be, as you would know, addressing the museum's needs.
Yeah.
Catherine, could you mention the local participation for community input, Vicki and her group?
Sorry, thank you for reminding me. The museum has engaged Collins Notice to do the community engagement component. So they will be helping us with all the different components, the public charrette and the report at the end.
Very good. Any further questions? It's very impressive. Looking forward to follow-ups on this. And
Great.
Catherine, Karen, thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, next, a presentation, Downtown Bike Loop, Westminster.
All right, Wes, all yours.
Good morning, all. Wes Minder with the Public Works Department. Thank you for the opportunity today. I had handed out previously printouts of the slides and then also a fact sheet on this project that we had handed out at a public meeting we had earlier, plus citizen comments towards the end. And I want to just start off first by saying that I've been working with Deb Ridgway, who's our bicycle pedestrian coordinator. We've been working with Heather and others with Mark's staff, and then also with Dick Gerald and some folks over at the ATA. And what we have for you is kind of the first step in the whole Making Grand plan. There's an overall project there that's shown on that map that shows the overall downtown bike loop project. That project is a project that's funded through federal funds, and it's about $724,000. And what it seeks to do is kind of complete a connecting network of all the existing bike facilities that we have downtown. The signature being Grand Boulevard, and the ultimate conversion into a different type of street downtown. And so, as you can see on the map, everything in the dash green is what this project that's currently funded. And anything is blue are existing bikeways, and by existing bikeways, we mean facilities that have bike lanes on them, they have shared pavement markings, or they have signage. So we have, if you want to go to the next slide, please. We've gone through a number of community involvement steps. We met with the Downtown Council Infrastructure Committee, Crossroads, Parking and Transportation Commission. We went there earlier this fall. They had given us the okay to move forward on the project with the consideration that we talk to everyone else and report back to them before they take any formal adoption on that. ATA Bridging the Gap, the Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Committee, we had an open house public meeting on November 25th. We had about 40 participants that attended that meeting. one of which was Mike Hendricks with the Kansas City Star, who did a write-up on the project. And so we also had the Downtown Neighborhood Association. Some folks did a blog post. We had a reporter from KCUR that was there, and then also the Midtown Post. So the first question that my bosses always ask is, how does this impact traffic? And so what we've done is we've done an analysis using all of our modeling that we've done downtown with the streetcar and then also the transit stuff. And what we found out, if you look at this map, is that in the morning we have no problems from a traffic perspective. The biggest traffic congestion issues that, is the traffic signalization. And in the evening peak, we did find that we did have one problem signal, and that was on the south side of I-670. And that was from folks that were leaving Crown Center, going north and wanting to go east onto I-70. And it was very apparent to see. We had our public meeting at Encompass, which is a 1,500 block of Grand, on their second story, which had their windows. And so we were able to watch the queuing of cars from folks wanting to leave from Crown Center to get on I-70. And so no matter what we do on Grand, the constriction or the traffic problem will never be solved because we only have one lane that gets on to I-70. What we did find out, though, is even though we did look at that from the model perspective, we had about 1,000 cars that were pulling up that intersection, and the capacity of a lane at a stoplight is usually about 750 cars. And so out of those 1,000 cars, about 450 were turning right to get on I-70, 550 were going north, and the majority of them wanted to go west onto I-70 or I-35 to get to Kansas. We are working with the ATA. Part of that problem is the bus stop is too close to the highway, and so we will work with them in order to get that bus stop slid further back and just allow more better efficient flow to get onto the highway there. And then what we had done, we had actually taken, we have a 4-lane and a 3-lane option. We looked at what that would look like from an aerial view, and I've taken a couple of handful of slides just kind of give you an option between the two. The 3-lane option allows us to put bike lanes throughout the whole corridor and preserve all on-street parking that's in the corridor right now. One thing to point out too, as far as if we were to keep Grand as 4 lanes, we still have a problem between 10th and 12th Street where it's just too narrow to keep on-street parking, and so we are looking at doing a 3-lane type section through there anyways. Right now, Grand is undivided, and you can't make left turns at certain intersections. We feel that with the 3-lane option, that will allow cars to turn left, which will actually improve traffic flow on and off of Grand, because instead of cars going down to, say, 14th Street or even south of the highway and then turning left and having to double back, it will allow folks to make left turns and will actually operate a lot more efficiently. I won't get into the specifics there. Heather, if you want to keep kind of... Okay, on the 4-lane option here, I kind of have a note here. Geometrically, the way that's set up is even though we may carry 2 lanes across Grand or across I-670, that lane, because of the skew, it essentially won't be used anyways because it just doesn't line up with those left turns. And one nice thing, too, about the 3-lane option is right now we have a lot of delivery vehicles stopping at the Power and Light District and parking on street anyways, and so this gives them kind of a loading, unloading area, and then kind of provides a little more of a buffer between the folks that are actually at Sprint Center. It does move the cars away from kind of that open foyer area. And with that, we've got, again, the series of public comments. The main, the traffic question is obviously a concern, but, we've explained why we feel that will work. Also, too, since we're only funded for doing pavement markings, if we do put this down, and if we do have problems traffic-wise, the only thing we are essentially out is the time that we've gone through this planning effort, and then also the paint. So that could be something corrective. And this does give us a lot more flexibility because it's kind of the first step in the Making Grand plan. At some point, the road is going to have to go through a conversion anyways. And so while we may not have the funding to do the hard infrastructure improvements, this at least will get us through the first kind of hard step of doing an actual conversion from 4 lanes to 3 lanes. And then it will allow us, as we move forward, to figure out what kind of pedestrian treatments, what kind of green treatments, and everything else to do in that excess pavement that we've kind of freed up through this project. And with that, I kind of went through this pretty quickly just to keep on the agenda. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions.
Any question?
I might add, or you might want to mention, Wes, that another part of this plan from the loop is a piece of West Penway.
Yes, we do. We are doing that connection from 20th Street. The 20th Street streetscape upgrade project, Public Works is working right now on. We had opened up a design-build project and package, and the bids were over our budget, and so we're reevaluating the scope of that project. But we will do the conversion, actual hard conversion through there, and then when we get to West Penway and Beardsley, that will be it'll be the pavement markings. And then we also have reviewed that with the West Penway plan, and since this is the intersection, we're doing some different kind of striping at the intersection up there at the north end at 17th Street. But again, it's all paint. So if we cause mayhem and chaos, we can come back and change that.
Have you had much outreach to the business communities that front on Grand Boulevard and Crown Center and whatever?
We sent notices out to everyone, to inviting them to meeting, and then I am meeting with the Director of Facilities at Harmark. Deb and I are meeting with him on Friday to kind of go over the project.
Okay.
The biggest concern, obviously, the general consensus we got was they would rather lose a lane of traffic than lose the on-street parking. So the on-street parking was more of a valuable asset to those guys or those business owners than having the additional capacity.
I think this is great. I think the complete street concept is really important as we, move forward and try to make this community as friendly as we can to non-vehicular traffic. So well done.
That's exciting. Thank you very much.
Any other questions or comments? Wes, thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Wes.
Thank you, Heather.
Thanks, Deb.
Next item on the agenda, considering board approval of an agreement with the Missouri Department of Natural Resources for Bruce R. Watkins Heritage Center and Museum.
Yes, Commissioners, this is a renewal, or a new agreement. One that goes back to 1989. So it's time to take a look at it and move forward for the next 10 years. You have a memo in your packet that kind of outlines those terms. And the two gentlemen on the staff here today that have been involved are Roosevelt Lyons and Jesse Barnes. So if you have any questions, I'll turn it over to those guys.
Any questions? All right, hearing no questions, resolution number 30322. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay. Next item, considering board approval of amendment with Starlight Theater Association for 2015-16.
Yes, Commissioners, an ordinance went through City Council last week that appropriated $200,000 to Starlight for a variety of deferred maintenance at Starlight. The funds then would be used by Starlight for those necessary repairs to the theater complex on a reimbursement basis. This is amendment to their contract that allows for that, and would recommend approval. If you have any questions, either myself or Sherry can answer those.
Okay. Any questions? Hearing none. Is there a motion to approve resolution number 30324?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion is approved. Thank you. Let's see, considering board approval of new ADA policy procedures for historic sites and amenities.
Wait, you skipped.
Pardon me, got ahead of one. Considering board approval for resolution requesting city council to pass an ordinance for the land located at 534 Highland to be placed on the April 7 ballot.
Yes, Commissioners, this resolution approved by the board would then subsequently be supported by the City Council ordinance to go to the voters on April 7th. As indicated in the memo, it would then require voter approval for the park board to dispose of this piece of land. It's located just north of Independence and just east of the Passaic with this address on Highland. Austin Steelman is with us today from the city attorney's office, and he worked on both the resolution and the ordinance, and if you have any questions, I'm sure he can answer those.
Austin, do you have any comments you'd like to make?
Not many. It's just, this is a piece of land that we don't really use for a park purpose right now. It's just vacant land sitting there, and the university wants to make good use of it, so this is kind of the process we have to go through to get rid of it.
Have we gotten an appraisal for a fair value on the property?
Yeah, I think we've already gotten an appraisal. We put out an RFP, and we've had bids on the property, so, by the university, so.
All right. Any further questions or comments?
Okay, and we confirm that the cost of the election is minimal,
Yeah,
correct?
I haven't had personal confirmation.
Yes,
but-
I spoke with the attorney in our office who represents the clerk's office, and she said it would be minimal. It would just be the printing cost, and there's not much there with ballot language, so it would be minimal.
That
Okay.
makes some sense.
Okay, resolution 30324, considering approval of sale of land at 534 Highland. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion's made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, now, resolution 30325, considering board approval for ADA policy procedures for historic sites and amenities.
Yes, Commissioner, this is an item that Mark Boland brought to us at a pre-bid workshop a couple of weeks ago, and, or I believe it was 2 weeks ago, is that right, Mark? Right. And reviewed it with the board, and it's here today for you to give consideration for approval.
Okay. Are there any questions? Mark, any comments?
None other than the fact that as we look throughout our city, historic sites or otherwise, policies like this will be coming forth to the board to ensure that all of the issues that, or all of the things that we address, either in alterations, construction, or access, those policies in the upcoming months, I guess, will be brought to the board for consideration of approval, so. And that this particular policy be implemented and commenced upon board approval.
Okay. This gives us a little latitude on the kinds of adaptations we have to make because of the historical factors.
There's really always adaptations that we can make and certainly interpretations of the law, but it will give us very concrete direction in terms of how we make alterations and how construction is done on these kinds of amenities.
And were there any changes from the meeting on December 2nd, or this is the same as we saw?
The same as you saw.
Thanks for your work on this. This is
Thank you.
important, so appreciate that.
Okay, any further questions? Hearing none. Resolution 30325, considering board approval for new ADA policy procedures for historic sites and amenities. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Motion approved. Let's see, considering board approval of an agreement with Scarrett Renaissance Neighborhood Association for the construction and installation of a hill slide on the park property.
Yes, Commissioners, you have a memo in your packet from Forrest, and he's been working on this with Leslie from the Scarrett Renaissance Neighborhood, and I'm glad she's with us today. And as you're probably aware, recently there was a playground built in the concourse area through the partnership with Kaboom, and there again, the Scarrett Renaissance Neighborhood. And this is kind of the next phase of that project, is to build a slide on the hillside. And I don't know, Forrest or Leslie, want to tell us a little bit more about this?
Afternoon, Commissioners.
Afternoon.
Yeah, Mark summed it up pretty well. This is kind of phase 2 of a multi-part renovation of that part of Kessler Park. The Kaboom project went very well and was built in a day, much to everybody's surprise, but no, it went really, really well. This project would be one that I've brought to you before and told you a little bit about it, but it's mostly just to form an agreement with Scarrett so that they can utilize some of our PIAC funds in conjunction with some funds that they have raised themselves to
Okay.
build this hillside slide adjacent to the Kaboom playground. But
I know we
think
had-
Leslie did want to say a few words.
I know we had some concerns about the construction and the size and accessibility and liabilities of the thing before.
Yeah.
Have those been considered in the ongoing discussions?
Yeah, we've talked quite a bit about the material, and I think in my memo it says brushed concrete. That's supposed to be polished concrete. I apologize for that. You wouldn't want to slide down a brushed concrete slide, so it'd be a little rough. The size will be somewhat, I guess, determined by the bids that come in. It was originally slated as 2 separate slides, but now it's been scaled back to 1 narrower slide. So, that should work out pretty well. The accessibility, there's already been some sidewalks poured there that lead over to existing sidewalks on Anderson that do allow accessibility through existing sidewalk system. So,
Do we have any examples of where these types of things have been installed somewhere else so we could get a visual?
none in our system. There is an example of one, gosh, I can't remember where it is. I've got some pictures of it in my office, so it's at a school. I can get those to you if you want, but they're a lot smaller. Maybe Leslie will remember. She may have the pictures with her.
Well, there's a small version
Step up here,
at
Leslie.
Academy Lafayette. Addison can probably best answer your question. But we do have a rough draft, and there's a small one at Academy Lafayette, but there have been some throughout the country, and we've been working closely with Kim's Studio on the design of the slide and actually the master plan for the whole entire concourse area, so.
Okay. Well, at some time in a pre-board, we'd like to see some of those photographs and see kind of what they look like. I'm having a hard time visualizing it, and I have a concern about liabilities, being in the insurance business. It's just something that hits me, and I would like to see, see a little more about that. So before we, go further on it, I mean, not a problem here, but when we get into the real design stage and all of that, would like to see some examples of it and a little feedback on
And I can
where
just
they've been.
explain to you that it literally is built into the ground, and then it kind of levels and goes down and then lands. And we have had discussions about all of those issues and concerns, and certainly have narrowed it partially because of the funds that we're going to have available. But
Sure.
And I would just add, also, if I may, we are definitely on a fast track with this. We anticipated that this up to now would take us up to 3 years, and we have done all of this in a year with great participation from Forrest and David Burke and Scott. It's been tremendous, and just the day-to-day Parks and Rec workers. They've been really helpful, and then the 175 volunteers that we had come out and build on build day. And we have now requests into PIAC for additional dollars for bathroom and for completion, helping us complete resurfacing of the courts. We have a U.S. Soccer Foundation grant that we think we're going to get that will help with those courts. And then we also will have some funds for landscaping and benches and so forth. So in probably 2 years, we're doing what was in our 5-year plan, and we're very excited with our partnership.
Great. Fantastic.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
I will just say, part of the agreement requires us to approve any design specifications or anything that come out of this, so I'll make sure that you see those
All
beforehand.
right. Thank you. Resolution number 30326, considering board approval of agreement with Scarrett Renaissance Neighborhood Association.
So moved.
Motion's been made
Second.
and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Considering board approval of Parks and Recreation Act 2015 fees and charges for community centers, shelters, golf courses, and aquatic and athletics.
Yes, Commissioners, what you have in front of you is a revision and update of our fees and charge manuals. And you can see by the thickness of it, it covers a little bit of everything. to get us up to date. We've kind of done this in the past a little bit piecemeal. But this puts it into one comprehensive document as we close out 2014 and head into 2015. And there again, all the information is there for all of our different fees and charges for the variety of programs and activities that are listed. Roosevelt Lions orchestrated this as far as getting the document put together. And if you have any questions, he's here to answer them.
No, I think it's great to have it all in one place.
I do too. The only question I would have, are there any major changes?
Yes, actually, the major changes come in the kind of the community services part of it, and what we did was, we kind of went through before, previously, a lot of the fees were kind of categorized by community center, and so what we found was it was kind of hard to go through and find something if you're looking for it unless you knew exactly where it was. So we kind of moved away from that and put them in 5 categories: athletics, aquatics, arts and crafts, which we call creative expressions, education and leisure, and health and wellness. So that makes it a little easier if you know what you're looking for. So if you're looking for a Zumba class, it's under health and wellness. Also, there are some inconsistencies across community centers. So one community center might have Zumba, and it might be $40 for 8 weeks or whatever, and another center might have Zumba for $35 for 6 weeks. So we wanted to kind of standardize that and make it an easy to remember kind of formula for all of our fitness classes. So all of our fitness classes are, they're 8 sessions for $40, and either they go for 4 weeks or 8 weeks, so it kind of depends how you prefer to take them, once a month, once a week, or twice a week. So we feel like that helps us a lot more, helps people that are looking for a class. We try to market our programs now instead of the center, so if you're looking for a program, which normally people are, it's a lot easier to find. So that was probably one of the biggest changes, which then led us into some of our admissions. So we had different admissions for our centers, so a walk-in pass might be different at each center, so we standardized that with the exception of our smaller 2, Marlboro and Garrison. And then also our rental policy also, so we had kind of varying rental policies and prices as well. So we try to standardize that according to room capacity and amenities to make it a little easier for not only for our customers, but for our staff as well, so that they can take a look at that at an easy glance and kind of remember what the policies are, what the prices are. So, yeah, those are some of the big changes that are there. So.
Just a comment, I just enjoyed going through here and just seeing all the programs that we offer.
Yes.
It's been growing. I think it's just great.
So, yeah, and I think what we're trying to do is really highlight our programs. We're talking about being more program focused as opposed to like community centers. People, yes, they love our community centers. They come for the community. They come to the community centers, but they come for the programming. So we want to put that up front so that people can see that and kind of have a choice of where they want to take that, where they want to go and participate in that program at which center. So that document it's long because it's complete. It's our complete document, but that's cut down from the previous document was about 60-something pages. So that's 34 or something around there. So it's we actually edited it. A lot of the classes for community centers, we kind of smushed them together and made it one class instead of, you might have a class that has 2 different names, and so we had 2 different fees in there, so it kind of standardized and streamlined it a lot.
Great. Well, thank you very much. It's a job well done. I think anytime we can streamline this, make it easier for our consumers to know where to go and what the cost is a vast improvement. I really appreciate your hard work.
Can I say one more thing? And so this was a kind of a process we started back in August, just because we took some fees to you guys last time, realized that it was kind of hard. So it was kind of a 2-month long process. And really, Esther Swanson back here was one of our municipal interns this summer and just did a great job of doing a ton of the legwork on this. Our staff helped, of course, but she helped format these and called the centers and got all their fees into one document that we could start with and continue to be involved throughout the whole process. So I know it was a lot of legwork. I'm glad I didn't have to do it, and she helped out with it.
Well, you may say it took a long time, but I think that's a phenomenally short and efficient time to get something like this done and put together in this manner. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
Stay right there, Roosevelt.
Sure. Resolution number 30327, considering board approval for Parks and Recreation 2015 fees and charges. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Considering board approval for fees and charges, directors approve pilot programs.
All right, what are we doing here, Roosevelt?
All right, so what we have here before you, this is a request to approve pilot, to kind of temporarily waive the process of bringing every fee and charge to you guys whenever we need them approved. So we call it a pilot program. The director or his designee can approve them. There's some restrictions on those that can only be for 90 days. They have to go through the normal process, submit a program proposal or program planning guide, which is what we use, the document we use. They have to be approved by us managers and by Terry before they make it to Mark. So, and the reason why we wanted to do this is, one, so that we're not always bringing fees and charges to you guys every 3 months or so, because we do have new, we want to encourage new programs. And oftentimes we want to have good, quick turnaround, so you might hear feedback from a patron and they say, oh, we really want this, and this just makes it a little easier to get those programs in front of them in a quicker time span. So the idea is that it also encourages them to, if they know that they're, they give us a program and we can give it back to them and say, yes, it's approved quicker, it helps them say, all right, well, we're going to propose more programs. And so the idea is kind of, as we go throughout the year, we have some pilot programs, we test them out. If they work, we bring them before you at, towards the end of the year, one time all together, and we say, would you approve these pilot programs? The ones that don't work, we keep documentation of those and put them in a file, just so that we know any reasoning why they don't work, executive summaries and all that kind of stuff for any kind of review. But, so we come, hopefully once a year, and we revise our, fees and charges, and that's the end of that.
Okay. Any questions? Okay, resolution 30328 concerning board approval for fees and charges, directors approved pilot programs.
So moved.
Motion's been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Okay.
Thanks, Roosevelt.
Considering board approval of an agreement with Platte County Community Center South, YMCA, for the use of Line Creek Community Center Ice Arena on December 31st, 2014.
Yes, Commissioners, and Errol's coming to the podium and is going to talk to you about a partnership with the Platte County YMCA in December. Go ahead, Errol.
Good afternoon. So for the past few years, we've actually had this ongoing event with South Platte, Platte County Community Center South, in which they come and they use our Line Creek facility. It's usually about 2.5 hours. And so this is their annual request.
Okay. Any questions? Okay, before us is resolution number 30329, considering board approval of agreement with Platte County Community Center South, YMCA, for use of Line Creek Community Center. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Carries. Okay. Thank you, General. Okay, considering board approval of Amendment 5 with Brockton Creative Group for marketing, design, public relations, advertising, ongoing monthly support in the amount of $70,000.
Yes, Commissioners, as you've mentioned, Commissioner Mecklenburg, a variety of services provided through the Brockton Group, we've been working now with for a couple of years. Heidi is here today to answer any more questions you have. We recommend approval, and I believe Heidi has a handout to go with this.
Oh, sure. Take one, pass it on, please. Good afternoon. As you know, we've been working with Brockton for a couple of years and have really worked on the overall rebranding of our department, focusing on social media and our website development. I just wanted to kind of go over what we've accomplished and what we're planning on for 2015 here with this packet. As I mentioned, it's focused on the website, also marketing and public relations have gone along with this. And if you see in 2014, we did some additions to the website. It's been live now almost for 2 years, and it's just constant tweaking, which is a lot of fun that we have the ability to do this kind of at the spur of the moment with them, and we're able to make the changes on our website as needed. which we were unable to do previously. But anyway, we added, in talking, as Roosevelt was saying, we're kind of realigning ourselves to be program-based versus community center-based. So we added a program section to the website where you can just search by program versus going to the community center and figuring out what programs they have. And so we're still going to be cleaning that up and have divided that into the 5 categories that Roosevelt discussed, and like I said, we'll be working on that even more and making it better as we progress in 2015. I did make this really small so you can read it. If you notice, I apologize for the size of the fonts. We also added a photo gallery section, which has been a lot of fun. So all of our parks and amenities now have additional photographs instead of the one main photograph that we've added. And we're doing that now as we speak, so that is constantly updating and enhancing our photo galleries. We've also enhanced the mobile sites and made the functionality when you're working on an iPhone or an iPad or an Android. You can view our website much better and access information easier. We have some tangibles that they do for us every year, and this would be the marketing collateral pieces. They design our year in review, our summer activities, spring and summer activities guides, our fall guides. They've done some signage for us as well as some additional promotional flyers and collateral for some of the events that we do. The big thing that we've done with them in the past couple of years has been the National Parks and Recreation Month campaign. It has been kind of a general campaign focusing on parks and recreation as a whole, and then driving people to our website. So we've done some, we had, this year was the Out is In campaign based on the theme that the National Parks and Recreation Association had, but we have a daily outing and a calendar of events that we placed and then rewarded people for doing that daily outing with some sort of promotional item, which you'll see here on the next page. These were some of the things that we purchased as well to give away. We did a lot of billboards and banners around, and if you notice, I placed in front of you kind of something cool that we did with the billboards and the banners that we used during the campaign and have recycled them and reused them into making pad folios, bags, and business card holders. So this, what you're holding in your hand or what's in front of you, is actually, in its previous life, a banner or a billboard for Parks and Recreation. So that shows you how green we are. They've also did some designs for us. They designed the e-bus that sits just right back out there, if you've noticed it when you come in. They designed some bike jerseys for us, particularly one that we'll be doing for our Ride the Fountains tour. Here's an actual picture of one of the billboards, and then we did do some paid online advertising and social media as well for that campaign. And we have good click-through rates, which you can't read here because they're so small, but they are above average. When people see our banner on a website page, they will click through and come to our website and find out more information. Following pages is some lovely pictures from our Instagram account. And then here, on this next page, you'll see our website analytics. And as I mentioned, the goal of the last couple of years has been to get people to visit our website, get social media presence. And we have really done that. A year ago, well, as you see, through November of this year, we had 20,266 visitors to our website just this month, and that is 2 times greater than we did last November. So we have jumped incrementally for people visiting our website. As far as social media, 2 years ago we didn't have a presence, really. Twitter, now we have about 2,400 followers. Just last year, in 1 year ago, we had 774. Facebook, we currently have 3,673 followers. Last year, we had about 1,000 fewer than that. And then on Instagram, we have 718, and last year we had 200. So you see what we're doing is really making a difference in our social media efforts and our engagement with our community through those efforts, because we have above average engagement with the people through our social media efforts. In addition to social media, we have earned media that we've gotten with our PR and all of the great, spots that we get on TV and the news and the morning shows and, newspapers and other social type of websites is because of our enhanced PR efforts that we do around some of our bigger events. Particularly this year, we focused a lot on the Bay Rider opening, the Big Picnic, the Blue Fountains, the Swope Soccer, closing now of Cliff Drive, and we've just gotten a lot of good earned media, not paid media, on those things. So, As I've mentioned, for the past year, we've really focused on our overall brand and image building, website awareness, and social media presence. In 2015, we want to take a more targeted approach. And instead of doing a generic kind of National Parks and Recreation campaign, we want to focus on the spring and summer programs guide when it comes out, and kind of our new rebranding and revamping of our community centers, and program-based promotion versus center-based promotion. So we're going to be taking what we've kind of done in the past during the month of July, pushing it forward and doing it in March, and doing it in conjunction with the introduction of the spring and summer guide. And so we're excited about that, and I think the way we'll be able to really measure the impact of that campaign is through this time actually increased revenues to our programs at our community centers.
Okay. Any questions for Heidi? Thank you very much. It's a great update.
Yeah, quick question. Was this the same contract amount as last year?
No, this is a little bit less.
A little bit less?
And actually, this contract now, this time, includes the $15,000 of paid advertising that we will do in that campaign. In the past, I've come forward to you with an amendment, an additional amendment for that, but this is all-inclusive, so I won't be coming back for any more money. Well, just for this, for this purpose.
Well, on that same line, maybe you're thinking along the line of what we're working now on, the coordination on the road-based running events.
Yes.
And where are we on that now?
Well, I actually I was going to do that in my report. Do you want me to do it now?
You can do it in your report. That's
Okay.
fine. That's good.
Thank you.
Thanks, Heidi.
Thanks, Heidi.
Okay, we have before us resolution number 30330, considering board approval for amendment number 5 with Brockton Creative Group. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Considering board approval of bid award to Mega Industries Corporation for the Minor Park Connector.
Yes, Commissioners, as the memo from Travis indicates, this would be award to a contract. Someone might wonder where the Minor Park Trail Connector actually is, and Richard's going to show you.
All right. Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
We have I'll show you this slide here, or this board, this is Brush Creek along here, this is 435, this is 71, and this is 470 as it goes into 435, this is Bannister, right here is Red Bridge Road, and then this is where the Minor Park Connector Trail is. On a bigger photo here, this is Blue River Road, this is Red Bridge Road, this is access road into Minor Park. What it does is we have 5.2 miles of trail built from Indian Creek to Blue River, and what this will do, it'll add 1 mile, about 1.14 miles, starting here at Alex George Lake, continuing along the river. It will go under the new Red Bridge Road bridge, and it'll go along the west side access road into Minor Park, and it'll connect over to the tennis courts. What does this do? It provides access to the 10-foot wide trail along Red Bridge that goes from Blue River Road up to Holmes. And then also it provides access to Alex George Lake, provides access to that 5.2 miles of trail that's in place, which connects over to the Kansas Trail, which is about 20 miles in length. We've had we've done very well in getting federal funds. This project is, federal funds are paying about 62 cents on the dollar for this project. The bids came in well. We had 8 bidders. And then I'm going to go back to this slide real fast just to show you the overall intent. This is Brush Creek. This is the trolley track trail. Indian Creek runs along here. This is the Blue River. Eventually, we'll have a loop in place in the city. And as we were talking about the Nelson Atkins on connectivity, this loop will connect to the Brush Creek, which will provide connectivity to that project as well. So, I mean, it's part of a long-range plan, but we're trying to do it 1 mile at a time, so.
This is really great. I think I'm in a running group that we've ran that quite a bit, and this is really a key piece, and I'm excited about it, so. Good work.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Richard.
Resolution number 30331, considering board approval of a bid award to Mega Industries Corporation for the Vina Park Connector. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is approved. Considering board approval of change order number 4 with National Streetscape, Inc. for the 2014 Boulevard Reconstruction Project.
Yes, Commissioners, the third paragraph of Travis' memo kind of outlines the work involved, and he's here to answer any questions.
Just a point of clarification, Commissioner, that should read change order number 5. So in the resolution, whenever we're talking about this change order, that should refer to change order 5.
Okay.
That's what's stated on your memo, so the information as far as dollar amount, what's contained in it, and so forth is all correct. So, thank you.
Okay, any questions? Resolution number 30332, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Considering board approval for amendment number 4, HDR Engineering for the Brush Creek and Blue River Confluence Trail Project.
Yes, Commissioners, Richard has another map,
Great.
right?
Like that.
The board.
Man,
All right.
I love looking.
I'm visual.
That is good. Back to this board. This is Brush Creek along here, and this is 350 Highway right here. And what this trail does, its critical link is connects the Brush Creek, the west end, connects to Cleaver 2 Trail, and then also it will connect to the Blue River Trail. Got a smaller orient you real fast is that is north. This is Brush Creek. This is Cleaver 2 as it goes through here. Elmwood is approximately located right here. And our trail ends right now along Cleaver 2. And what this project will do, will go along the north side of Brush Creek under the Union Pacific Railroad. It will continue along the north side of Brush Creek. It'll bridge to Brush Creek. This is Blue Banks Park right here. And the new Colorado Street Bridge that was put in by Public Works a couple years ago, this will connect to the Blue River Trail, which will connect to that smaller loop that I showed you earlier. And then what this is this is opportunity for an outdoor classroom area for school groups to come down and see the confluence of the Brush Creek and Blue River. We also were able to obtain $500,000 for the construction of this project when these construction plans are done. This amendment will allow us to take it to the construction document phase and complete all permitting and then bid the project out. So.
Wonderful.
I'm amazed at all the trails and everything we've done in the last 3 years. It is fantastic. When I first got appointed to the Parks Board, I used to come in and talk to everybody about how Columbus, Ohio had such a beautiful trail system around Ohio State University. They can't touch us now. We're doing a fantastic job. Everybody's to be commended, and the access to federal funds has been nothing short of phenomenal. So it's greatly appreciated. I hope the public really understands the beautiful asset that we're developing throughout the city, not just on the south side and the central area, north of the river, everywhere.
Yes.
So thank you very much.
Right, thank you.
Okay, any further questions or discussion? Resolution number 30333, considering board approval for amendment number 4 with HDR Engineering. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Director's report.
Yes, Commissioners, I also might mention, before we turn it over to Travis, that when we had the discussion on the resolution regarding the Bruce R. Watkins Cultural Heritage Center, Jesse Barnes was here with us. Wilhelmina Stewart, who is the current president of the Friends of the Bruce Watkins Center. Would have liked to have been here today, but her husband passed away over the weekend. And maybe we could record that in the minutes as well. And anyway, we wish her well on that, and sad loss. Travis, it's all yours. Major construction.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. You'll find in front of you a document on the 2014 Boulevard Reconstruction Project. One of the items, the change order number 5, you just approved today. Part of the work that's ongoing out there is the work along 12th Street at various intersections. You can see the colored pavement that's been put in, and the stamped pavement in order to provide the guidance, or follow the guidance that's set out by the MUTCD manual uniform traffic control devices for crosswalks. And to meet that criteria, on that first page, you'll also see what's our design standard for the directional ADA ramps, as opposed to the ramps that used to put folks out into the middle of intersections. So just a variety of projects, everything from ramps to sidewalks to curbs to parking lots. You can see the last photo in there is the resurfaced Hillcrest Community Center parking lot. Doesn't have the stripes on yet, but weather dependent, we still hope to get that wrapped up before the end of the year. So, any questions?
So is the dyed crosswalks, is that going to be the norm?
We try to put those in, yes, and whether it's the colored concrete or striping, one way or the other, so that it shows up. It's a bright contrast to just the sidewalks or the pavement in that area.
Right.
So it makes it easier for people to identify you are at a crosswalk. So
Is this something Public Works is also doing?
yes, now what you'll find is a variety of striping. They use a lot of the thermal striping, which requires the grinding and the heat sealing of the plastic strips into the pavement, and painting along the sides. So
Okay.
I really like the idea of these directional crosswalk things, because of that little thing that, like you say, throws you into the middle of the intersection, and it really doesn't get you where you want to go. You've got to almost double back on it. This is tremendous. Great, thank you.
Heidi, marketing report, please.
Okay, as Mark mentioned previously, we work with the race coordinators on permitting road races and road-based events here in the city, and have been doing that for a couple years as well, and have really taken this last year to look hard at the permit fees, and done a lot of discovery work and studying of other communities of what they do, and have come up with a really good proposal for 2016 with regards to increases in race permit fees. And the handout I have before you is something that we presented to the race directors, people who are in charge of all the road races in the city. We've had a couple of meetings with them this year. Went in with an initial option of charging $1 per participant and just adding that on to their registration fee. And that did not go over well, so, at all, again. So we went back and took a look at it, took a lot of input from them on some options that they might like to see with regards to permit fees, and came up with number 1, which is a fee that's 20% of the Kansas City Police Department fees, with a minimum of $300. So the example there is if you pay the police $10,000, you would pay $2,000 to Parks and Recreation for your permit fee. The second option is a formula that we devised based on the length of the race and the number of participants. So if you can look at, say you're doing a 10K, put your finger on the 10K, and you have 1,000 participants, put your finger on the 10,000, where your fingers meet would be your fee. So after a lot of discussion, and really actually a good positive meeting with the race directors, they overwhelmingly preferred option 2. As did we, even though it wasn't really their decision, we just wanted their input. It just makes it much easier than having, and then you know what your fee is going to be, and you don't have to wait for the police department to tell you what your fee is going to be for a race. So As I mentioned, these fees will be implemented in 2016, so that gives them a year to figure out in their budgets how they're going to pay the permit fees. This will, however, be going to the city council in an ordinance in January, along with some additional smaller changes for the race ordinance that Councilwoman Marcuson will be presenting. She wanted to get it done before she's out of office. So we will be taking the formal ordinance upon approval to the neighborhood and, what is it, community service, neighborhood and housing? Neighborhood and Housing Committee first, Melba Curls Committee, and then it will go forward to the complete council. And we'll get that knocked out in January, and then we can just sit back and wait for the fees to go up in 2016. So other things that we're doing, working on some promotions for the all-access annual passes, holiday pricing. You may have gotten some emails or seen some buzz about that. You can now get an adult all-access pass for $200, and that's for an entire year, and that gives you access to all 10 community centers. If you're a senior citizen, you can get that for $100, and that's each a savings of $150. The pass can be used, like I mentioned, at all 10 community centers for their fitness center, for open swim and swim lessons, at the indoor pools, for open gym, public skating at Line Creek Ice Arena, and then select classes. So that's a really, really good deal. And I've gone over our website analytics, our social media analytics as well. I did want to mention that Kansas City Parks and Recreation was featured in a recent NRPA post on their website as an example, one of 10 examples of innovative ways that parks and recreation agencies are using Twitter. So that was kind of cool. We had our Santa's Wonderlands this last weekend, and did we ever luck out with the weather? I was so concerned. It didn't feel like Santa's Wonderland.
You wore your parka
But
just
I was
in case, though.
okay, yeah. That, I'll tell you, that is the fewest layers I've ever worn to a Santa's Wonderland. So I want to thank Commissioner Judy for bringing her family and coming out on Sunday to Longview. We also had Commissioner Hackett on Friday evening at Gillum, and we had really good turnout for everything. We are doing one more Santa's Wonderland, and that is this Saturday, so it's going to be cold. It had to be cold for one of them.
Snow, we called for snow.
Oh, actually, I wouldn't mind snow. You know, if it's going to be cold, you might as well throw snow in.
Look on the water line.
Yes, and it's going to be over at Swope Park here, and we're going to do it in conjunction with their holiday party. Holiday party will run from 2 to 4. Santa's Wonderlands will run 4 to 6. We're kind of commingling the events that go on at each, so that gives people an opportunity to party inside and party outside. So,
I'm glad we added that one.
yeah, and then we will guarantee a good turnout because we make them come outside to get their toy to Santa's Wonderland.
160 kids.
Yeah, that's great. Tomorrow morning, we have our Employee Appreciation Awards breakfast. If you guys can make it back over to Southeast Community Center, we will be giving awards to our employees for their service with the city of Kansas City, Missouri. And then also this weekend, we have the last chance to see the Fairy Princess at the Kansas City Museum and Skate with Santa at Line Creek Community Center.
Heidi,
got
thanks so much for your work on the race permit fees. It's been quite a process, and we appreciate your creativity with coming up, because we hit some dead ends, and you were able to pound through it and come to what I think is a really good compromise. So
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really pleased with it, and I'm especially pleased that the race directors are okay with it as
Oh,
well,
yeah,
because
definitely.
it's huge to have that behind us.
Well, yeah, and I think Councilwoman Marcuson has been a real trooper on this, too. We appreciate her efforts. I know she was very pleased at the meeting last week, and there again complimented Heidi and her good work on this, along with
And Energy.
David, too, of course.
Yeah, Energy, who we contract with, have just done an immense, thorough job and have been just so good on doing this. In fact, that so good that they've impressed the city manager's office, who is expanding their role in the city to kind of take a look at doing citywide outdoor event permitting and just kind of funneling it through them so that there is more coordination between the departments. So next month, when we renew our contract with Evergy, there will be an additional scope of work added to the contract that we manage, which includes doing the outdoor, citywide outdoor event permitting, or at least reviewing
Like
it.
Parades as an example.
yeah.
Parades, big festivals, and just working with fire, police, health, all the various departments, public works for sure, and just making sure that everybody walks through each of the appropriate stages they need to get a permit. Thanks.
Thank you. No public hearing, calendar review.
We've covered most everything through the earlier reports. There is a Starlight Board meeting on Thursday morning. I got a note from Commissioner Hackett, and Carmen may have shared that she was en route from Columbia. She just finished up a meeting about 1:30, so she's on the road. That's why she wasn't able to be. So I know she's going to the Starlight Board meetings. And then, of course, we're into the holiday season with Christmas and Hanukkah and, of course, the New Year. And we're back here on the 6th of January.
Being no further business, we're adjourned.
Hey, you're talking about dumping out in the middle.